The air was crisp with the smell of dew and old leather. An early autumn wind rustled through the flagpoles outside the military academy, where brass buttons gleamed in the sun and young cadets stood proud in their pressed uniforms. A crowd had gathered for the annual veterans ceremony. Chairs squeaked, cameras clicked, and somewhere behind the polite chatter, the distant sound of a bugle floated through the breeze. And then she walked in. She shuffled slowly, almost invisible among the tall, upright soldiers. An older woman, small-framed, back slightly hunched, eyes weary but calm. Her coat hung awkwardly off her shoulders, wool frayed at the edges, sleeves faded from time. But what caught the eye wasn't the coat, it was the patch, faded, stitched with shaking hands, barely hanging on to the right shoulder. An emblem few recognized, and but those who did never forgot. Who let that bag lady in here? Is that even regulation? Looks like a jacket from the thrift store. They snickered, loud enough to sting. One mimicked her slow walk. Another snapped a photo, she heard. Of course she did. But she kept walking, head low, hands clasped. She didn't speak. She didn't flinch. She just stood in the back row, alone and forgotten. The crowd shifted. Some glanced. None stepped in. Because in a world where uniforms shine, tattered ones are ignored. If you've ever felt invisible, unheard, or judged by appearances, hit the like button. Share this story so others remember true worth can't always be seen. I subscribe to Kindness Valley, where every soul is a story that matters. The keynote speaker was late. Whispers spread that a high-ranking general would be arriving in his place. And then a black car pulled up, doors opened. Boots stepped out, decorated, stern, heavy with presence. General Marcus Gray, Silver Star, war veteran, legend. The crowd straightened. Silence fell. He scanned the crowd until his eyes stopped, locked on her. Everything froze. He walked straight past the podium, past the cadets, past the cameras, and stopped directly in front of the old woman. His voice quiet. "Ma'am, where did you get that jacket?" She raised her eyes. Calmly, softly, "It was my son's, 142nd Battalion. He never made it home." The general's face changed, from protocol to pain. He bent down slowly and saluted, not casually, not politely, but with the reverence of a man standing before sacrifice. The crowd gasped. And the cadets shrank because the patch? It belonged to a unit that saved Gray's life in the siege of Kunar, and her son was the man who didn't come back so he could. She didn't feel small anymore. She felt seen, and the jacket. Suddenly it wasn't old. It was sacred. The general turned to the cadets, his voice cold. "You mocked a hero's mother today. That patch earned more than your stripes ever will." They stood frozen, ashamed, silent, no words, just red faces, and one tear trailing down her cheek. Kindness begins when judgment ends. In a world racing toward the loudest voice, it's the quiet ones who carry the heaviest stories. Never underestimate worn hands. Never mock a tattered coat. And never, ever judge the patch someone wears until you know the price it cost. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment to honor someone you've lost. Like and share to remind the world respect has no rank. And kindness, it never goes out of uniform. Subscribe to Kindness Valley, where every story is a salute to humanity.